Good afternoon from the Big Apple. You're watching News Always On. I'm Kessyl. Officials in Thailand have now rescued 8 out of 12 boys who were trapped in a flooded cave in the northern part of the country, Chiang Rai. 4 were freed on Sunday and 4 were brought out today. Another 4 boys and their soccer coach remain trapped in the cave system. The operation has been deemed very risky after one of the rescuers, an experienced diver, formerly with the Thai Royal Navy, died last Friday. The rescue of the first 4 boys brought cheers and optimism on Sunday, bolstering hopes that more of the boys can survive a complicated and hours-long process that includes the use of multiple divers and a system of air tanks stashed along the escape route. Doctors were monitoring the rescued boys for any illnesses they may have picked up in the cave and supervising efforts to build up their strength after they have spent more than 2 weeks with little food and no natural light. The drama has gripped the nation after the boys, ranging in age from 11 to 16 years old, and their coach went missing in the caves for 9 days before they were found by 2 British divers after a marathon search operation in the Tham Luang caves. The boys are members of the Wild Boar football team. Their 25-year-old assistant coach is known to have occasionally taken them out on day trips, including a trip to the same cave 2 years ago. More than 32 million gallons of water were pumped out after the boys were found alive last Monday. Officials initially thought they could keep the boys and their coach in the cave for up to 4 months, until waters dropped sufficiently for them to be able to walk out. But the death of the rescue team member and the realization that oxygen levels have fallen to potentially dangerous levels appears to have forced a reassessment of the situation. Chiang Rai acting governor said, quote, "All conditions are still good as they were yesterday. The boys' strength, the plan. Today we are ready like before, and we will do it faster because we are afraid of the rain." Hundreds of spectators and journalists have gathered in the area around the cave, hoping for news that the boys and their coach would emerge safely. The team's plight has also been followed by people around the world. The Trump administration is facing a Tuesday deadline to reunite some of those children separated from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border. The administration is seeking to put off that deadline. Last week, U.S. District Judge ordered the Trump administration to release a list of 101 children under 5 years old believed to have been separated from their families. Now, the ACLU, which is suing the federal government, says it has received the list and is looking over it. The administration says it needs more time to make sure the reunion is safe, but the ACLU says it views that request as a tactic to prolong the suffering of migrant families. The federal judge has not granted the extension to the administration. The Trump administration's separation policy has met with widespread outcry, marches, and legal action. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar said, quote, "We will comply with artificial deadlines created by the court, deadlines that were not informed by the process needed to vet parents, including confirming parentage, as well as confirming the suitability of placement with that parent." Azar told reporters that under 3,000 children in total who may have been separated from their parents who were taken into DHS custody. Approximately 100 of those children are under the age of 5. The federal judge ordered on June 26 that families must be reunited within 30 days, and children under the age of 5 must be reunited with their parents within 14 days. Azar stressed that HHS employees are working, quote, overtime to connect minors with verified parents, and that includes conducting DNA tests to confirm parentage. Moving on our next news story. More than 114 people are dead in southwestern Japan, with 61 others still missing from flood-stricken areas. Heavy rains have given way to scorching heat, and many people are at risk of heat stroke, including rescuers. Some towns in central and western Japan are still flooded. Thousands of homes have been destroyed, and there is still a threat of landslides. And now that the rains have stopped, tens and thousands of rescuers are facing temperatures up to the mid-90s and intense humidity. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said that the government has expanded the search and rescue effort, dispatching about 73,000 troops and emergency workers. Southern California has a record-breaking heat from the desert to the sea, with widespread triple-digit highs and withering conditions that stoke wildfires. Officials urge people to take advantage of cooling centers in libraries and other facilities, and to watch out for the elderly and very young, warning that minor heat-related illnesses can worsen quickly. Here is more.
The Los Angeles Fire Department, we have rigs pre-deployed. That means we have engines strategically positioned in certain areas where we feel we anticipate greater potential of a wildland fire starting. We would recommend, as far as fire danger is concerned, that make sure that everyone has an evacuation plan, especially if they live in these areas that are in the intermix or in the outskirts of the city, that they have their medications, documents, an escape plan with their family, and they pay attention to the media, the news, and over the television and radio, and make sure that if they're asked to evacuate, that they do so quickly and follow directions. The excessive heat can pose risk to especially the very young, or the old, or people with pre-existing medical conditions. In this case, we recommend that you obviously make sure that you're staying away from the sun and limit your outdoor activity to the late evening, right, when things tend to cool down. Make sure you drink plenty of water, you stay hydrated all the time. What we recommend is to drink before you become thirsty. If you have strenuous physical activity outdoors, maybe if you could postpone it to a different day. Just try to stay, and if you really have to, try to stay out of direct sunlight, or use a wide brimmed hat. Make sure you drink plenty of water frequently, and you monitor for signs of dehydration. For the elderly population, it's very important to make sure that they're monitored, meaning to stay in touch with them, that they have someone who's checking up on them, right? If they're in a place that has air conditioning, that is great. If this is not possible, there are lots of cooling centers. The public libraries in the city of Los Angeles will be open. Also, if you call 211, 211 is the county's information center, you can call to get a more detailed list of all the places that are open. Additionally, even a shopping center might be a good place to go because they're usually air conditioned, right? So if you don't have air conditioning at home, you might seek to find a cooler place in that way.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo responded to accusations from North Korea that Washington has made gangster-like demands to pressure the country into abandoning its nuclear weapons.
Because they were, and they did. Pretty simple. So, look, people are going to make stray comments after meetings. If I paid attention to what the press said, I'd go nuts, and I refuse to do that. I am determined to achieve the commitment that President Trump made, and I am counting on Chairman Kim to be determined to follow through on the commitment that he made. And so if those requests were gangster-like they are, the world is a gangster, because there was a unanimous decision at the UN Security Council about what needs to be achieved.
協議を踏まえてどのように日本が拉致問題の解決に向けて取り組まれるか改めてお聞かせください。
So the world will see continued enforcement actions by the United States in the days and weeks ahead, and I'm counting on those other countries that are with me here today and others around the world to continue to enforce these sanctions as well. The enforcement of those sanctions will continue until denuclearization is complete. We had lengthy discussions about the scope of what complete denuclearization means over the past 2 days. They acknowledge that this is broad. This is, as my two colleagues have said, from weapon systems to the fissile material to the production facilities, enrichment facilities, across the range of weapons and missiles. It's a broad definition of denuclearization, and North Koreans understand that and have not challenged that. Second, they also understand that denuclearization makes no sense absent verification, and they acknowledge that as well. There will be a verification connected to the complete denuclearization. It's what President Trump and Chairman Kim both agreed to.
I'd like to ask each of you. Recently, the U.S. defines its goal as follows: will the U.S., Japan, and South Korea continue to work towards CVID?
We have also had in-depth discussion on how we can cooperate to urge North Korea to take concrete actions towards the full implementation of relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions, and we confirm that security assurance will be provided to North Korea as agreed in the summit in Singapore. At the same time, we have reaffirmed that international community will continue to fully implement relevant UN Security Council resolutions in order to materialize CVID.
Engage on the issue of North Korea's complete denuclearization and lasting peace. We have made it clear that decisions to suspend certain parts of the ROK U.S. joint military exercises, including the UFG, has been taken jointly with the aim of encouraging North Korea to actively and expeditiously engage in the denuclearization process, and that our combined defense posture will remain ironclad. Our two countries will continue to maintain watertight coordination in any and all issues related to the ROK-US alliance.
Good news for those of you out there who care about the earth. Starbucks is on their way to eliminate 1 billion plastic straws a year while searching for a composable alternative. They will be eliminating them globally by year 2020. For News Always On, I'm Kessyl. You can catch us again at 4 in the afternoon. I will see you later.